Gauteng Education MEC Panyaza Lesufi has officially opened a newly built walkway at the Hoёrskool Driehoek in Vanderbijlpark. You'll remember the deadly collapse at the school in February that claimed the lives of 4 pupils. ENCA's Uncle May is at the school now with an update for us. Yanka, you're standing on that newly built walkway.
Yes, that's right, Michele, and it's quite a bittersweet moment here for the school with the MEC unveiling the plaque that's just on the other side of the bridge, which says that this is now the newly built walkway. But again, he says it's not something necessarily to celebrate or to be proud of. It's still a very difficult place to be for a lot of students, but at least it can be seen as one step towards healing that the school has to undergo. You would remember that after the incident took place, the school was closed for a while, and then a lot of the pupils moved to the rugby field where they were actually undergoing or attending classes in tents on the rugby field. We understand that that has now come to an end, and the investigations into this incident has now been concluded, or 3 of those. So at least this is some sort of a milestone in the healing process in moving forward. And I even saw some students who I know were injured on that day, severely injured, who was actually in a hospital for quite some time, taking the steps across this new walkway, walking very cautiously, but still you can see it is something that they needed to do on this day, almost 3 months after this happened.
You mentioned healing, Yanka, and the tragedy of that school where those 4 pupils died was in February. What has been the process to assisting some of those teenagers there to find some sort of comfort, some level of healing?
Well, you might understand that this obviously had different processes involved over the last couple of months. There was, immediately after the incident, we saw here at the school a number of counselling sessions going on. As I've mentioned, parts of the school were closed down and classes were moved to the rugby field so that they can inspect the rest of the infrastructure and also rebuild this new walkway, and also for time for the investigations to go on to exactly what caused the incident. But you have to remember that a number of other students were actually severely injured and had to spend time in hospital. I did visit some of the families and some of the teenagers who were injured, and the thing is, some of them are still in rehab, still busy with the physical healing process, never mind the actual emotional trauma that they underwent. And I think especially for some of them coming back to the school, it was quite emotional. I've seen some reports that I understand that some of the kids will not be returning to school. You can obviously understand it is quite a traumatic place to be. And then another thing, apart from healing, some parents have indicated that they will be taking legal action because they do feel that someone needs to be held accountable. And the MEC did address that. He did say that he has received a number of legal documents, but from his side, what he is saying is he does not want to oppose any of the court actions. He doesn't want to argue in court, but he does want to negotiate and settle this with all the parties that are involved. So he has now instructed his legal team to try and negotiate with all the parents who have decided to take legal action. But if that is not the possibility, then they might still be going to court. So we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. So there's quite a number of processes ongoing, but the fact is that we have to remember that this school lost 4 pupils in basically a horrific accident that no one saw coming on that day. So I think it's going to take a lot more than the 3 months that has gone by for all these processes to be finally concluded.
The tragedy, Yanka, will also put further pressure on not just the school management but the Gauteng Education MEC Panyaza Lesufi to make sure that that bridge there is as safe as possible, because in the wake of the Vanderbijlpark tragedy, we heard reports of other schools saying that they'd felt their walkways weren't as safe as they should be.
Yes, and I think that was important that he mentioned today that he was so proud of the pupils at Hoёrskool Driehoek for even after that incident. They still came to school because they felt that education was important. But the thing is, after that incident, I actually attended a meeting with the MEC, or between the MEC and SGBs of the various schools, where he indicated that they had to alert the department if there was any structural problems at the schools or maintenance that were backlog maintenance or any major problems that they felt needed to be addressed to make sure that a similar incident doesn't happen at those schools. So we'll have to actually keep an eye on the other schools. We heard about, I think it was over 200 schools that the MEC himself called basically death traps. So that will be quite a long process. Also, you can understand about the large number of schools in Gauteng that will need to be attended to. But definitely this was a wake-up call for the Gauteng Education Department and maybe the National Department of Education to make sure that this is not something that can be addressed only after something happens. It's something that needs to be attended to ongoing through the years, because you are sending young kids to these places and you assume that they will be safe. So they definitely will not want to have something similar to this repeating itself in the coming years.
Gauteng MEC at Hoёrskool Driehoek in Vanderbijlpark for us. Thank you.